Fiancé joked about trapping me with a baby, and now he's furious about a prenup suggestion, while showering me with apologies. I23F made a post a couple days ago on here talking about a joke my fiancé made at Thanksgiving which concerned me. That post got taken down locked. This is a repost update. I23F have been with my fiancé 26M for 3 years. We met whilst I was on holiday, and a few weeks after he followed me on Instagram. And the rest is history. We got engaged last year, and a month later found out I was pregnant. We have a beautiful 6-month-old. We hosted Thanksgiving this year, and my fiancé was drinking quite heavily. And after dinner, me and my mom were talking about the wedding which my parents are paying for. I overheard my fiancé tell my brother, who was just as drunk as him, that he needed to tie me down and get me pregnant before I realized what a dickhead he was. They laughed it off, but it rubbed me the wrong way because our baby was not planned. I wasn't ready for a child, and we were using condoms. But after a few instances where the condom broke, I decided it would be safer if I got on birth condoms. Roll. The first month on BC, I got pregnant. We were told that could happen, and he said he would pull out to be safe, but I still got pregnant. I was scared ASF, but I personally didn't want to get an abortion. I 100% believe in the right to get an abortion, I just didn't want one. And so decided to keep the baby. I work for my dad's company, and my fiancé works at a country club. Money wasn't necessarily why I didn't want a baby. I just wanted to do more before I started a family. I spoke to my fiancé out what he said, and at first he said he didn't remember saying it, which was believable because of how drunk he was, but then he said it was just a joke, and it was meant as a compliment. Because I'm so amazing, so I said, okay, good, because we're getting a prenup. I was just joking, but I was also wanted to see how he reacted, and he was pissed. He said, why the fuck would he sign a prenup that we have a baby together, a house together, and that he would not sign one? How we wouldn't need one because we're never separating, and that me mentioning a prenup is insulting and emasculating. I never felt threatened or anything like that, but he did make me uncomfortable, and he woke our baby up, so I told him to leave. Which he did. The day after I kicked him out, he sent me a long apologetic message about how it was out of character of him to T-loud, which it was. He's never acted like that before. And I replied saying, I appreciate the apology, but I still just need a day or two to think everything through. The next day, he sent a bouquet to the apartment. Sunday, he sent me a booking confirmation of a massage he booked for me at the club and offered to come over to watch our son and cook dinner. Tonight, he sent me a message saying that I'm being an a-hole and that I'm taking a meaningless joke to heart and that he's wasting money I'll be saving for the wedding on the hotel. But now things that went over my head before, I'm starting to think is sus, but breaking up my family over this doesn't seem right. Am I overthinking this being an a-hole? Update 1. Why did the joke bother me so much? About a year ago, he lost his job. He was never really clear why. For the next 3/4 of months, he didn't really do much. He said he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do next, and that was the first time he brought up having kids, indicating that he was ready. We had a candid conversation on my part about how I want kids, just not anytime soon. I enjoy my job. I had trips planned, and I wanted to be married first. He agreed with me that we should wait. 3/4 of a year, my dad's company got a contract at the club, which is how he got his job there. But during the time he was out of work, my girls would joke that he's a stay-at-home boyfriend and that I'm the provider, and he'd be a stay-at-home dad because I was paying the bills, rent by myself, which at the time didn't bother me. I used to live there by myself before we got together, so it wasn't a big deal. But I guess it was them that first made me question. TBH. I don't know how long the condoms were aching. A lot of people are saying they've never had them break. And I can't say I remember it ever happening before. I noticed the first time that it looked like it had split. And then I checked it the next time that was also broken, which is when I decided to get an IUD. Which he didn't want me to. But I stood my ground, and we compromised. And I got on the pill. I know we should have continued using condoms, but he said he'd ran out and that I'm on the pill and don't need them. In hindsight, yes, I should. Have insisted we still use them, but I choose not to have that battle. I thought we'd be okay. He knew my opinion on abortion and that I wouldn't get one. If I got pregnant, I would raise the baby unless it was for a medical reason. Money-wise, my family's successful. I work for my dad's company. I have 2 trust funds, one of which I got at 18. Before I fell pregnant, I was making plans to start my own house flipping business. But I decided to put that on hold. I still work from home on flexible hours. But he said once we're married, he wants me to stop working so I can focus on our kids and that he'll support us. But I've never really liked that idea, mainly because although I've never had to worry about money, my parents always taught us the importance of financial stability. And my mom's always said to never be financially dependent on anyone. Plus my fiancé's current salary. I'm not sure would cover all of our expenses. The only reason why I haven't told my dad is because they have a good relationship, and I don't want to blow everything up over an overreaction on my part. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous that he can't even manage to keep up the love bombing long enough for the OP to begin second-guessing herself. Nope, This guy who's never got loud turns right around and gets rude when she doesn't forgive him fast enough. This is a very common trait with abusers. They do something sus, and then spend a day or two love-bombing before getting pushy, rude, and manipulative. OP will hate herself later for not seeing how she knew before they even got married that he could get abusive, but for some reason just forgave him and went right on with the wedding. This is the moment he showed her who he is, which means it's action time, and he likely wasn't lying about getting her pregnant on purpose. Guys like this do need to lock their girlfriends down with a baby, or a ring, because no sane woman would take a look behind the mask and still want anything to do with them. OP is NTA. Update 2. I23F made a post last week about a joke my fiancé 26M made at Thanksgiving while drunk. To everyone that hasn't seen my older post, he joked that he got me pregnant to tie me down and I didn't know what to make of it, so I posted on here to get outside opinions. I didn't want to initially talk to my friends or family about it because they're all quite close to him, and I didn't want to make a mountain out of a molehill and cause drifts in their relationships. Yesterday we had a conversation about where I was at, but he said he couldn't go back to the hotel because they kicked him out for smoking in the room. He stopped smoking while I was pregnant, but he said I was stressing him out, so he had to stay at the apartment. While I was OTP to one of my girls in the bedroom, he came in and took the phone off me and told me to come and eat. While we was eating, he said that he understood what I said and that things need to change for us to move forward. He then proceeded to list all the things I needed to do to make things better. His tone. The whole conversation was just making me uneasy. I texted my dad saying that he was making me uncomfortable when he wasn't looking. I went to check on the baby, and when I came back, I saw him take my keys out my purse but didn't say anything. He took my silence as agreement to everything he said and went to bed instead of the couch. Like we had agreed, like everything was normal. I stayed in the living room and my dad, bless him, drove 6 hours to come and get us. My dad got to the apartment around 5 this morning while my fiancé was still sleeping and we left. Me and my son are at my parents' house now. My fiancé's been blowing up my phone since this morning. I sent a text to him as we were driving off saying he wasn't respecting the fact that I needed space and time to just figure everything out. So he could stay in the apartment and I'll stay at my parents'. We haven't officially broken up or called the wedding off. My parents, who've paid for it, have said that they don't care if I want to call it off, but I feel bad. But I just want to say thank you to everyone who replied to my original post and private messaged me. I didn't think people would care about me. I feel like every option I have is bad. The thought of being a single mom is scary. If my fiancé's behavior gets worse, that would be shit. If we cancel the wedding and cost my parents thousands of dollars, I'll feel guilty. And if we break up altogether, we just got a house together. We're both on the mortgage, our joint accounts. And I've been with him since I was 19. Being without him for good is also scary. He took my phone to get me off the call. I didn't expect him to literally come and take it out my hand. He gave it back when I came out the room. He just did it to get my attention. I left with none of my stuff. Only essentials for my son. I will have to go back. But my dad said he and my brother will go today.